everyone else having a meltdown. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to wait. I'm so stressed. How you can't look out into the world, into the people of this country and see what's happening. How am I supposed to go to work? How am I supposed to go to work and do all of my normal daily activities when I know that we all just chose for things to get exponentially harder?
Something totally opposite, and I'm tired now. I'm tired now. I'm so fucking tired. I'm so fucking tired of her. I cannot save this girl no more. You don't understand.
I just saw a video of Harris supporters lining the street and waving signs in Bastrop, Texas, and it has me completely losing my mind. I'm bawling.
Joe Rogan endorsing Donald Trump. This just after Elon Musk made the case for 45 during his 2.5-hour sit-down interview on Rogan's podcast today. So two major endorsements, Megyn Kelly and Joe Rogan, at Monday night, right before the election.
Wow, the 2024 presidential election could possibly go down as the most important election of our lifetime, guys. I mean, and it's evident given the fact that people who once disliked or at least disagreed with Donald Trump are now backing him up. I mean, you got Tulsi Gabbard, you got RFK Jr., you got Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, Dr. Phil, guys, freaking Dr. Phil. I'm waiting for Oprah to convert. You got Megyn Kelly and, of course, Joe Rogan. For a guy who Kamala Harris claims to be dividing the country, Donald Trump is sure uniting a lot of its people, right? And it's also very clear that he's working well with people that consider themselves to be lifelong Democrats. All right, which stomps out the notion that Donald Trump is unable to work across the aisle. This is clearly more fake news. All that was needed here was for them to actually talk to the former president. It also helps that our country has been screwed over so badly by the Biden-Harris administration. So I think now I just want to kind of cover something that Joe Rogan discussed with political commentator Kat Timpf a few weeks ago, basically saying that Kamala Harris would threaten our freedom of speech. Watch.
That you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop.
Okay, right away.
Yeah.
There's no way to misconstrue that.
What does that mean?
Oversight and regulation for free speech is ridiculous.
Yeah, totally.
Just that alone, there's no way to misconstrue that, right? What she was saying is what I was thinking she was saying. She was saying she wants government oversight and regulation for social media. That's crazy.
It's crazy for anyone to want it, because if the only reason you want it, right, is because you agree with the ideological bent of the platform, wait until someone else is in charge of it, or wait until there's a different government in charge.
It's also saying that the very thing that Mark Zuckerberg regrets should be happening. Like, she's essentially saying, why should they have different rules for Facebook than they do for Twitter? Like, what rules? Like,
what rules?
We don't have rules. We have First Amendment rights of free speech.
You know what I'm saying, guys? This is really concerning. So Joe Rogan hosts the most popular podcast in the world, guys, arguably the most popular. So for the vice president to openly admit that she's planning to place rules on X after Elon Musk personally saved free speech is insane. She's literally trying to delete the First Amendment. That should put fear in anyone. And I guess this played a huge role as to why Joe Rogan is now doing something that he's never done before. And it came at a very critical time for President Trump. Watch.
Oh, wow. I have some more big news, Megan. I'm just getting this right now. So somebody that's very, very respected asked me to do his show 2 weeks ago. And I said, why not? And to me, it's very big because he's the biggest there is, I guess, in that world by far. Somebody said the biggest beyond anybody in a long time. And his name is Joe Rogan, and he's never done this before. And it just came over the wires that Joe Rogan just endorsed me. Is that right? Thank you, Joe. That's so nice. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. So.
If Trump wins, this might just be the new thank you Joe meme, right? Because Joe Rogan was supporting RFK Jr. going into this thing. He wasn't a big fan of Donald Trump, but after doing a podcast with both the president and JD Vance, he's now changed his mind. And that says a lot to me. And I believe that Elon Musk played an integral part of nudging him in that direction. In a post on X, Joe Rogan had this to say, quote, "The great and powerful Elon Musk. If it wasn't for him, we'd be effed." He makes what I think is the most compelling case for Donald Trump that you'll hear, and I agree with him every step of the way. For the record, yes, this is an endorsement for Trump. Enjoy the podcast, end quote. So, wow, to me, guys, that definitely speaks volume. And we cannot forget that Joe Rogan extended an invitation to Kamala Harris after Donald Trump's interview, one that she placed rules on, which led to JD Vance showing up that week instead of her. Who does she think she is? You know what I mean? So you got all these people who believe in free speech who are supporting Donald Trump. But Trump's the one who's out of control and out of touch with the people. It just doesn't make any sense. And especially even though Kamala Harris's campaign insists that our rights would end if Trump wins. It sounds like the very person Kamala Harris she's claiming that Trump would end our rights, but it looks like she's the one that would ultimately be ending our rights. Isn't that a rule? Isn't that I feel like that's a play that came straight out of the Marxist playbook. Blame the enemy for doing the very thing that you're doing. But anyway, I digress. Both of these men who are free thinkers believe that things will, in fact, spiral out of control if Kamala, in fact, wins. Watch.
Well, I'll say it again, man. I think this is the last election. If Trump doesn't win, this is the last election.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think people, and a lot of people are waking up and realize that have been lifelong Democrats. Guys like Bill Ackman, guys like Chamath.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Tulsi Gabbard switched over to the Republicans.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of people who their whole life they've been left-wing and they realize like, I can't do this anymore.
You and I used to be Democrats.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's nuts, man. And if the Dems win this election, they will legalize enough illegals to turn the swing states, and everywhere will be like California. There will be no escape.
That is so insane.
This is the final. This is it. This is the last chance.
Has anybody tried to push back?
And I just want to go out and vote.
This single endorsement right here, you guys, it's huge for the Trump campaign, especially up against the people who have endorsed Kamala Harris. Now, to date, we've only seen celebrities and musicians who really don't have that much to say when it comes to politics. We've only seen celebrities and musicians. They're clearly not speaking from the heart. They're speaking from a script likely written by somebody from Kamala Harris's campaign, and they're just trying to collect a check. They're just trying to milk Kamala Harris's campaign and, you know, for millions of dollars. And they don't care who they really support. They just want that check. These multimillionaires, and it's funny how Kamala Harris tries to villainize multimillionaires and billionaires or whatever. She tries to again, going back to the Marxist playbook. She tries to say that, you know, Trump is only going to look out for millionaires and billionaires, right? But it's only millionaires and billionaires that Kamala Harris is working with. She's writing checks for Meg Thee Stallion, millionaire. She's writing checks for Cardi B, millionaire. She's writing checks for Beyonce, millionaire. She's supported by Oprah Winfrey, billionaire. Microsoft, Bill Gates, billionaire. You see what I'm saying here? So anyway, I'm just saying it's the pot calling the kettle black. And again, you know, these celebrities who don't really have much to say when it comes to politics, she's in their pockets. And not many of them actually speak the language of everyday Americans because they themselves they're so wealthy, they're so rich that they're completely disconnected from the realities that many of us face. And there's nothing wrong with being wealthy or successful, but what I'm saying is she's trying to act like she's one of us, and clearly she's not. And she's engaging with all of these people who are not. So it's a lie. And I guess this is why Joe Rogan enjoyed this talk with Trump so much, because it felt genuine. And it would be hard to imagine how a conversation with Kamala Harris would go. Watch.
Can you imagine Kamala doing this show?
I could imagine her doing this show.
She'd be laying on the floor.
She was supposed to do it, and she might still do it, and I hope she does.
She's not going to do it.
I will talk to her like a human being. I will try to have a conversation with her. If she did this kind of an
interview with you, I hope she does, because it would be a mess. She'd be laying on the floor comatose. You'd be saying, call in the medics.
I think we'd have a fine conversation. I think I'd be able to talk to her. I wouldn't try to interview her. I'd just try to have a conversation with her and hopefully get to know her as a human being.
Well, guys, we're sure that this conversation is not happening anytime soon, okay? And we remember that this is the person that he's referring to. We realize that interview is just never going to happen.
Are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win.
Well, guys, the great wealth transfer is in full effect. And, whether it's Donald Trump that ends up winning the election or if it's Kamala Harris, oh, God, we're in a world of a pickle, as my grandfather would say. Our freedoms are being stolen, guys. Credit card companies are out to get us. And if you don't understand the game, well, you end up getting played by the game. Now, if you're anything like me, guys, you were probably out of shape, maybe in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and just feeling like the system is just completely taking advantage of you. I remember for a long time, I could rarely ever get any time to spend with my wife. And it's kind of funny because where I used to work with a lot of married men. And a lot of those married men would always complain about their spouses as if they really just didn't even like their spouses, which is sounding like a pretty horrible situation. But that was the case for many of them. They didn't like who they were married to. But I was different. Anyway, through trial and error and through a lot of pain, I figured out how to gain freedom and also lose a lot of weight and actually get in shape. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a game changer. To no longer be living paycheck to paycheck, figuring out how to get the credit cards to pay me, the power of a strong credit score. I pay thousands of dollars less per year for the same house as my neighbor just because my credit is better than his is. And this is not to brag. But this is the truth. The banks are literally taking advantage of the poor. It's like the people who can least afford it, they're charging the poor what is like unofficially called a poor tax or a tax on the poor. I'm now at a point where, number one, I don't pay for credit cards. In fact, credit card companies pay me to use their cards. And I figured out how to build a lifestyle that is just ultimately very, very healthy. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and I put on a lot of muscle. But when I was struggling, I wish I knew people who knew these things. So anyway, I decided to create a community of like-minded people who are also interested, just like me, in living better. So if you guys want to join my community, it's called the Liberty Pursuit Network. It is brand new. Come on over. I'd love to have you guys and join like-minded people. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now. Guys, any thoughts on Joe Rogan's endorsement? And will it help Donald Trump get to the finish line before Kamala Harris? We're getting some results from early voting and it's looking very good for Trump. Now, I don't want to jinx anything, but I covered this in a previous live stream that I urge you guys to watch right after this one. You should see a video coming up here in just a second. But as always, I really appreciate you guys keeping yourselves updated and informed. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and supporting the work that goes into this. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Y'all be safe.